So Jake, you built your life and career with your hands and your body, mastering the physical demands of carpentry. When did you first understand that your body was no longer able to sustain that work, and what was the most difficult realization you faced about that shift?
I think the biggest realization was the fact that it was no longer viable to be on the tools. And as hard as it is mentally, having to transition to something else after investing time and money in educating yourself, whether it's through your apprenticeship or outside of that, and the financial outlay for tooling and equipment that sort of just sits around collecting dust now, it definitely is and was and still is a hard transition, and not being on site with the camaraderie and the general antics on site, whether it's banter or being around a good crew every day, enjoying working with your hands, I guess. So that's still plays a part in my mind, and I'm sure, Brad, you may relate with your recent injuries or as well.
It's actually kind of a good combination.
As soon as you answer that question, I'm like, Brad's got the same story.
Yeah.
So it's probably interesting to get your take on that.
We'll just fuck off and we'll just go home.
Well, let's just go. I'll get another.
Mine's a little different because I can still work in a limited capacity.
Yeah.
But I spent 2 hours on a jackhammer the other day, and I'm still paying for it now. So it's the realization for me that this is very limited, and there's a time in the very near future that I have to pack it in. Yeah, it's
just carpentry, young man's game or young person's game.
I want to add to this for a sec too, because I had a very similar, well, not similar experience, but I had a similar injury, similar result in injury that kind of took me off the tools as well, because your wrist got fucked from a motorbike riding accident.
Yeah.
I did mine being a CrossFit wanker, and I had to get a
Did
wrist.
you throw the weight down really hard?
I had a wrist reconstruction, and at the time it actually forced me off the tools, which at my particular point in my business, it was a real blessing because I was really struggling to get off.
I'm the same. My back fucked up. I was shit on the tools though, so I was like, sweet.
Yeah, see, I was a lot better than you were. So
Mate,
I'm actually
not,
and you know what?
That door handle something like I would have done.
And just for the record, I'm a lot better car parker than Matt. I've just pulled into the expo here, and he has hung his ass of his car about a metre into the car park, which I've then parked in front of him. So I'm now sticking out a metre in.
One thing I will give him credit for, though, is it's drawing attention to the car, which is sign written.
Yeah.
So realistically, it's actually a marketing ploy.
Well, I actually also think that it's a classic example of how autonomous driving is impacting our real driving, because you drive a Tesla most of the time.
Usually, and I don't have it today, so I actually had to drive.
Yeah, okay.
And my heated seats weren't warm when I got in the car, and the steering wheel wasn't heated, and I couldn't climate control before I got in the car when it was
2 degrees. 2 degrees inside the Lanc, so it really makes you feel alive.
Jake,
for sure.
I want to go back. So you're now Notorious Tools. I want to go back because we have a history before Notorious Tools.
Yep.
But I want to take you back to just before we started talking. And what were you doing? You're a carpentry apprentice?
Yeah. So
can I also ask, what do you identify as?
In terms of what exactly?
Are you still a carpenter? I know it's a kind of a loaded question in this current
environment. I know where you're going with this. So
yes.
If someone comes to you now and what do they say? What's your job title?
I would say I'm formally a carpenter because I'm no longer actively on the tools. Yes, I still dabble a little bit here and there and renos on my own house and things like that. But
do you still think you're a carpenter?
At heart, yeah.
Because I think we were chatting with Justin O'Connor, who's transitioned out of being a builder. He goes, I'm a builder.
Yeah.
I identify as a builder. I will always be a builder. No matter what I do, I'll always be a builder. And I reckon...
I thought you were asking for his pronouns.
That's why I said, please define.
I tell you what, that's going to make the best reel, I swear to God, which is why I wanted it. But I genuinely feel like I still, if someone says, what do you do? I go, I'm a carpenter.
Yeah.
But I now run a building business.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, as well as being a carpenter, I've had Notorious Tools for many years, so I was still an apprentice at the time. So I would still say to people that I'm, either a carpenter or formerly a carpenter.
Yeah.
But it's definitely what I would go to rather than I'm a sales rep or I sell product. It's always carpentry.
I think there's something being about a carpenter that makes people proud. I don't know, if you're a joiner or if you're a plumber, people say I'm a plumber. I think it's only carpenters. People go, I'm a carpenter.
I have a slightly kind of off-topic thing. So I'm good mates with Ben Russell from Goodbye Gas, and he's friends with Josh Teskey from the Teskey Brothers.
Yeah.
So Josh is a plumber by trade.
Yeah.
And Ben always says that Josh always tells people he's a plumber. He's so proud to be a plumber. And he's part of the Teskey Brothers. He's off travelling Europe at the moment, but he's a plumber. He goes, I'm a plumber. And I'm like, I love that.
You have the voice of an angel.
He's got the voice of an angel too, yeah.
So go back to sorry, we can go off topic.
Sidetrack.
So you're an apprentice, you're doing carpentry, and then we first met how?
So I was a bit fed up with where I was at the time with who I was employed with, and I stumbled across Matty through socials, but also through Freshcon or Jack. I've been supplying Jack for a while now, and one day we got talking. Obviously, he was doing some of your projects and some of your carpentry work, and then we met for coffee, and it wasn't long after that I jumped on board with Matty and started working for Carlin Constructions.
As an apprentice? Or?
No, as a qualified.
qualified.
Newly qualified,
So
why
I wanted to bring this up is, and you probably too get it a lot at the moment, it's like, I just want to work for someone who cares. I want to do work on projects that mean something. But these people, I feel, expect for people to go to them. Where I want to get at with Jake is Jake actually got off his ass. He come to my open days, started messaging me through social media, chatting, asking, learning questions. And then the opportunity came when I needed someone. I'm like, I know the perfect person. So he put himself in a position to actually work on, we'll say, better buildings.
Yeah, I've got the same at the moment. Like, I've got a carpenter who's subbing to me part-time when I need a hand. And, yeah, when he posted working on my jobs, he got hit up by a few people like, oh, how'd you end up there? And, yeah, he's just consistently slid in my DMs, hey, let me know if you need a hand, let me know if you need a hand, let me know if you need a hand.
And action it, though. Don't just say it. Actually action it and do it.
I think he showed up. With where the industry's at the moment is, like Matty said, everyone's expecting a handout and just to be given, well, I shouldn't generalise and say everyone, but a lot of people just expect to be given the world and not have to do much in return. Whereas with Matty, at the time, I was actually moving house. My partner and I bought our own home. And I had a couple of weeks leave from the employment I was with so I could move house. And then I ended up doing, I think it was a week with Matty on site as a trial period, and then didn't look back. We're obviously all come from that sort of better building practice. Once you go down that rabbit hole, there's a hell of a lot to unlearn, but even more to learn and sort of start again.
Do you feel that because you learn, we'll call it an old school way, do you think that benefited you long term?
Yes and no. I think, look, don't get me wrong, I've worked for a few different bosses in the construction industry, and I think learning from different people is a good thing. And I know we've spoken about that recently, Matt, because everyone does things sort of differently. So I'm not going to say that where I started wasn't a good thing. I think it gave me a good understanding of general construction. But in terms of better building, I think you really need to unlearn some of the stuff.
I think it also crystallises the reason why you've decided to make the move into better building as well. I mean, I had a realisation a couple of years ago when we were doing an extension to our home that we sold a year and a half ago. We did a little extension to a bathroom, a little pop out at the back, and as I was peeling back cladding, it was foil-backed sarking with metal cladding screwed directly over the top of the foil-back sarking, and I thought I was doing a good thing by putting noggins every 600, and I'm peeling it back, and I'm like, far out, geez, we've come a long way. And this was right now, middle of doing like a SIPS extension to my house, so it's just like wildly worlds apart of how I used to do things, but it's an evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've come from, before Matt, we did a lot of renos with the builder I was with. And I think that really opened my eyes in terms of like exactly what you just said, of old practices are so obsolete now. Like opening up walls and corners are always rotted out. Like your corner studs are always cooked. Yeah. Because it's direct fix cladding, the sarking's not great. Or around windows, like the key elements that we all know how to deal with now, with appropriate techniques and methods that a lot of the rest of the world have been doing it for many, many years. Like it's not as if the information wasn't there a few years ago. It wasn't as accessible, don't get me wrong, but people have been using brands like ProClimate for how many years now?
Yeah, well, I think I've been in the industry for, I'm sure my age now, probably 20 plus years. You're probably not too far off that as well.
Yeah, I think I've had my own business for about 10 years now. So yeah, probably around 15 years I've been in the game.
And I kind of feel like I've always been around good builders.
Yeah.
But good builders that aren't educated in better building practices. Like,
what do you define as a good builder? This is actually a really interesting concept.
Well, as the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like thinking about the builders I used to work for, like the quality, like I remember one builder, like when you're framing, he's like, I don't want to see a proud nail. Yep. Like you've got to punch in tool belt. You go and knock that in. If you're skew nailing studs, get your fucking punch out and punch it. And like it's those little things that like were really important to my learning. Now, yeah, we were then wrapping the house in
whatever
foil back insulation,
just knock on those little things and keep going.
Foil back isolation and insulation. You know, we weren't insulating our corners.
Like, also, like the cutouts around PowerPoints, for example.
You just rip it out.
But I would consider the quality of the builders that I was working for to be a really high standard.
Yeah, like the workmanship.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your experience of working on, shit builds with shit builders with shit quality.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I also did my apprenticeship with a guy who incredibly skilled.
Yeah.
Skilled is the term, I think.
Yeah. He did a really good job and the best that he possibly could do with what we had or
knowledge he had.
Yeah, what we were given.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you hear this conversation sometimes, and people are like, I think we've had it on another podcast where people are like, well, why don't you just do it differently? But if you're not the one funding the project or steering the ship, it's sometimes very hard.
I think that's a completely different conversation. Budget's always going to be a limiting factor on how far you can go with the project.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that I've always said and will continue to say is that as the client, I think we need to look at options. Instead of going with that fancy zip tap initially, we need to look at maybe putting in a provision for down the line and investing your money into things that are going to make a massive difference and that you can't access later down the track. So whether it's your membrane, whether it's something you like insulation or something like that.
It's a thermal envelope.
100%.
So our narrative with clients is minimum that we're going to give you is a high quality thermal envelope. Yeah. What you clad it with, what you fit it out with is going to be whatever
that determines your budget.
Whatever your budget is.
Exactly right, though.
But our minimum is going to be a high-performing thermal envelope, and that's our minimum standard with an HRV.
Don't you hate it when people, and we'll use ProClimber as an example, when they're someone or client or designer's like, we just couldn't get that into the project, yet they've got like a $1.4 million budget. Yeah. And you're like, can you explain how you didn't get that in?
Yeah.
It
doesn't make sense.
It's probably more frustrating to see stuff like that used on projects and not used well. It's just been like a tick box upsell.
Yeah. We put it on, but
it's not really doing its intended purpose.
I was watching a show on ABC last night, which wasn't grand design, but it was a building. Let's just say it was a restoration program, and I love watching that show.
It's weird how you go home and watch building shit.
I love it. But like they're renovating this beautiful home in the Adelaide Hills, like this gorgeous sandstone home that was built. It was just a school actually in the 1800s, stripping the roof off, and then they're putting sarking on it around the walls on the roof, and I'm like, this is 2023, and I almost felt like picking up the phone saying, Jess, where the fuck were you when that project was being built? Because it's just round the corner. Like, that should have a membrane on it. Like, it's 2023.
Yeah.
Or don't touch it at all.
Or don't touch it. Or don't touch it.
It'll be fine to don't touch it.
Yeah, I went to look at a house for potential clients to purchase in Mount Macedon yesterday afternoon, and the house was built in the early 80s to replace their house that burnt down Ash Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And the house has not been touched since. Like, 95-year-old existing owners still living there.
Wow.
The house has not been touched. It's been really well maintained. Everything's always kept clean, whatever.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I said to him was like, just be really careful of what you do here is going to have a huge knock-on effect. The house has lasted perfectly from 84 till now.
Yep.
And when you start doing little things like insulating cavities that have like, they had a shed that had, it wasn't even like the foil back sarking. It was like legitimate, like thick aluminium sheet.
CSL.
Yeah, like super old. Like it was obviously done in the 80s. But, open tail rafters at the end, so much airflow.
Yeah.
Like condensation wouldn't even be a factor.
Just run the heater more.
But they're like, we want to turn this into a place that people could stay. Okay, cool. So you're going to insulate in the bays, line the ceiling inside, and then introduce people sleeping in there. Like, you're going to disjoint so fast. And they were like, hadn't even considered it, which most people don't. They just think, we'll make a few slight improvements and don't understand that.
And doesn't it help, like the government are about to bring in like an insulation scheme for Victoria about we're going to insulate people's existing ceilings. And it's like, well...
Are they bringing that back in?
Yeah, they're bringing for just ceilings. Like, what happens here? I don't know, we're kind of getting off topic, so I want to get back to Jake talking about where he's got to with his work. But what happens when we have moisture issues, because we introduced this, that now doesn't comply with the NCC, but people have accessed a government fund. Because it is going to happen.
Yeah, so does the liability fall with the government? And,
But when does government ever take responsibility for anything?
But realistically...
No, but people will have saved a few $1,000 on some energy bills and getting insulation in and caused $100,000 worth of damage to their buildings.
And the health issues that come from that.
And it's a much bigger thing to unpack here. It's probably something that we'd love to get Cam involved in, but you're changing the building physics.
Absolutely.
The physics of the buildings has completely changed.
So going back back to you, Jake. So you had was it a workplace injury? Just FYI, you started working for me. It wasn't workplace injury with me.
It was the initial injury was pre-Matty. Initially, it wasn't that bad. I went to the doctor, was on light duties for, I think it was a couple of weeks.
And what did you do?
We were lifting up a beam, an apprentice and I were lifting up a beam up a ladder. It was 6-7 metres long, and he called something out and I didn't hear him. And because we were already lifting, all I did was turn my head to try and, call out and go, hey, sorry, what did you say? And my back just went. Just upper ladder just gone.
Wow.
Initially,
with disc or?
Yeah. A couple of discs lowered in my lower discs. On the nerve, I still have sciatica all the time. But yeah, so the first time I was all right, light duties for a bit, couldn't wear an hour belt or anything like that. And then the second time it went, I think it was like a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on the tools a Saturday, I'm pretty sure, maybe a Sunday. And it just went again. And I wasn't doing anything strenuous. I was just at home. And that time it really played havoc. I was off work for, 3 months?
Yeah, more. I think so. At the same time, my brother actually did something. Yeah. We went and saw Billy Joel at the MCG, and he then called Mum in the middle of the night, being like, "I can't move."
Yeah,
and nothing happened. It just went. And so
let's just take a moment for a second and just acknowledge how good Billy Joel is.
Yeah, I fucking love my mate. It was insane. But what happened is and watching him go through it, and I'd seen he was kind of like more advanced. He was like 10 weeks ahead of you or where you were at. But watching him go through it, and then experiencing Jake, you could see it just eating away that he could not do anything.
Yeah.
And then trying to access work cover.
Oh, mate, that was an absolute nightmare. Don't get me wrong, I've always been pretty financially savvy and have a backing. There's no problem with that, but it's just something that should be accessible fairly quickly. Being off work for 3-4 months, still have a mortgage, bills to pay. Couldn't really do much even for Notorious because I couldn't lift boxes. I couldn't do a hell of a lot.
They didn't pay you for months work cover.
Yeah, it was months, yeah.
And it was an actual work cover issue.
It was a proper full claim. I had all the supporting documents, scans, everything. Yeah, hospital for a couple of nights. That didn't do anything. They couldn't do anything. They sent me home.
Surgery?
No, I avoided it.
Yeah.
Just almost had to get injections.
Yeah.
But we went down more of a physio and osteo approach, and then jumping in the pool and saunas and things really helped.
Yep.
So I'm glad that could be avoided, at least for now. Long term, who knows? It may come a day where it needs to happen, but the longer that I can avoid it, I will.
Did you have income protection?
No.
Okay.
Because I was always employed at the same time. It was never something that really crossed my mind.
So my biggest advice to anyone that is a tradesperson, qualified, whether you're employed or not and you're on the tools, you should have income protection.
Yeah.
100%. It's a fully tax deductible amount. It's not a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And it will cover you for anything you do, whether that's playing sport, going to the gym, just being drunk on a weekend and falling over, because your job is physical. It's not like if you heard it and you're in office and like me and we can come and just continue on our laptop. Yeah. As a trader, you need to have that income protection. It's so damn important.
And the earlier you take it out, the lower your premiums are because you're less risky.
Did you have it with your arm?
I've got it, yeah.
And did it help you when you broke your arm?
No, because mine was covered by TAC and you can't claim
both
multiple things.
Yeah. Well, on the top
it's a bit cool because it's you've got TAC. Obviously, I employ myself because I'm a company structure, so then I pay my own work cover and my own income protection.
Yeah. And they all want to fight. They all want to not pay it, so they all argue with each other, and then that just only hurts you.
Yeah, so you really got to sit down and work out what's the best benefit. And for me, it was going down TAC because obviously they covered then all my medical and not just wages, which is the biggest thing for me.
And you're with TAC. You went on the road though, or it doesn't matter?
No, I was on a marked road.
Yeah, if you're on your dirt bike and you're fully registered, the bike's registered, you got license, TAC will cover it as long as it's marked. As long as it's not a single trail, you can be out in the bush. It's not a single trail, you're fine. They will get you air vac'd out if they need to, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's the same like when I go out riding as well.
Also, everyone should have ambulance.
Oh, 100%.
that is
the cheapest thing.
Is it $54?
It's next to nothing.
I paid like the 5-year or 10-year one. It was like a couple $100.
I think mine comes under my private health.
Yeah.
I
think that mine does too. I just double up. I'm like, I just fucking don't. And I also think that we should be giving to people like that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. They do incredible work.
They get no funding.
The other thing I want to touch on quickly is for any trade, I don't care who it is, apprentice or not, please get tool insurance. It's a must. Like my canopy got done on the weekend, 50 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's all it takes, 50 seconds.
What'd they take? Everything?
I didn't have tools in there. I just had stocks. I'm lucky, like extremely lucky. But no padlock or handle is going to stop it. Like they didn't even need to cut the padlock. They didn't need to touch the handle. They just jimmied it open.
Wow.
Two damaged handles and they're in. Like literally 50 seconds. I've got it on film.
I've had mine done when I was 3 times. Have you guys?
Well, personally, no, but one of my trucks has been done before.
Yeah.
No, because I live in the middle of nowhere and park in a shed and
but even
stay
then,
far away from people.
Even then, like for anyone, like doesn't matter if you're rural, whether you're Metro Melbourne, like just get it, please. It's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
It's not worth the headache of having to replace, even if it's only a couple of $1,000s. Your insurance is going to be cheaper than it.
Yeah, so my brother, he's a plumber and he's got contracts to a lot of the hospitals. So he gets call-outs for late at night, constantly being followed by trucks home because they know he's going home and he's going to sleep. So they'll follow him and he'll have to take long roads. He's had jobs where he's literally like dropped in a toilet into the house, gone in, come out, it's like 50, 60 seconds, they've bang, ransacked, he sees him driving off, cleared the car out.
Look at what happened to your plumber, Cam.
His
car was out the front.
So this is actually an awesome story. So we're at my project in West Footscray and I get a call from Mark, my project manager, being like, where'd you put Cam's car? I'm like, what are you talking about? And Cam's like, where have you put me, car? Like, I know you'd play this sick game. What have you done with it? And then I'm like, Cam, I'm not fucking with you this time. What are you talking about?
This is like full on, yeah.
Yeah, so what had actually happened, they'd walked inside, grabbed his car keys, come out, and then just drove his car off. Just gone. They actually walked,
gone.
And there was like, this was a day where it was like a chaos on site because I hate chaos on site. So I was like, I'm not going there. There's too many trades.
Yeah.
Someone had just walked in, grabbed his car keys and started playing around with them. And
to see whose car it was.
Yeah, and then just bang, drove off with it.
Where's my keys?
But then found the car. So obviously the police come and stuff. They found the car a few months later, and all his tools are gone. There's a whole set of new tools in there of someone else's, and the police are like, "Well, we don't know who it is, so it's all yours now."
So hang on. So they found the car with tools in it.
Yeah, but it was different tools from someone else. So it was all these new demo saws and stuff. So he's like, he lost all his tools, but he's got all these brand new different tools now.
Oh my goodness.
And with the amount of people I talk to in the industry every day, like I'm seeing people, cars stolen, utes stolen, trailers stolen.
It's so
yeah. I know guys that have had like their factories broken into, trucks stolen out of a locked up factory.
It happens every day.
One guy I know.
To anyone listening, Sanctum Homes owns no tools.
I own a laptop support.
Yeah. You can steal my iPad.
But what shits me is it the people who are stealing the tools the problem, or the fuckwits that are buying them the stolen tools? Because I reckon the people buying stolen tools, you are the scum of the earth.
That's creating the market.
Yeah, you are
if there's no market and no way to sell it.
There's no demand. There's no supply. Like if I have strict instruction with my team that if you have anyone coming on site to sell your stolen tools, hold them down, call the police. You have, like, I don't care what you do to them because I just think it's scum.
Do people actually do that? Come to site?
Yeah.
I was on site yesterday and someone was saying they had someone offering a hammer drill for like $100. A brand new, like almost brand new Makita hammer drill.
What?
Yeah, when I was an apprentice, one of the kids had his tool stolen on site. The next day, this same junkie come back trying to sell his same tools back to the kid. He just didn't know where he was. It's a huge problem, and I feel sorry for the police because there's nothing they can do either. Like, they catch these people half the time, but there's big ringleaders. You could speak to Ned from NW Build. He had his tool stolen. He had like a tracker in there, knew where it was. He's telling the police like, we actually can't do anything. So he went with his all his mates, knocked on the door, and then he's like, I want my tools back, and he got his tools, and they're everywhere.
Yeah. Some of it wasn't there, some of it was already sold or whatever, but it's daily anyway.
Yeah. So now you've transitioned. Geez, we've gone off track to come back on track. We've gone on tangents.
So you're
us four together.
So you identify as a carpenter. Now you've transitioned into a tool seller.
Yeah, and
also general construction hardware.
Yeah, what is Notorious Tools?
So initially it started off with power tool accessories, so like blades and things like that. And over time it eventuated into having opportunity to supply fixings and fasteners. whereas now there's probably 10 or so brands, 60,000 items throughout the brands I range, and that's continually growing every day. A lot of work going on behind the scenes on the website. Understand that a lot of my customers are still trades that also are on the tools, so the convenience of ordering late at night is priority at the moment to just streamline the process, because at the end of the day, I know exactly how much is going on during the day. The last thing you want to do is be sitting down trying to order fixings during the workday.
You also don't want to pop into a hardware store half the time. You just want it to go to someone direct like you that cares, and you just
for me, like my local hardware store is very ordinary. They never have any stock of anything that you need, and for me, it's an hour round trip to go to either the big green shed or a Total Tools or
big green shed.
So now I just order everything. Jake sends it to my house
straight to his door. But the other thing too is that even if you send an apprentice, right? I know this from being on site. The hardware store may be 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
But that trip very quickly turns into an hour and a half.
They take the scenic route.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're dawdling around in store. And I've had some builders say, and then they've come back and they've bought the wrong product from the hardware store. So they've got to go back and get the right screw or whatever.
I always tell my team, no matter where the hardware is, it's always cheaper to get a delivery.
100%.
Yeah, like whatever it is, it's always cheaper because
it's like $10. You're like,
it's you leaving. It's productivity offsite.
It's another set of hands gone.
It's a 15 minutes before. You think I'm going to go and get in the car, and then it's 15 minutes when you get back. Like it's 100%. If any of my team are listening, always deliveries.
Or what we do a lot of time is if someone's going, ask the rest of the team they don't need anything and go on the way through or after work. They usually can wait till later that day a lot of the time.
Yeah. And the thing with, so what I've done is I've got fixed price freight for pretty much everything online. It's $15 authority to leave at your door. Anywhere in the country, it's nationally, it doesn't matter where.
$15 is nothing.
You can't leave home and go to a hardware store for $15, $20 if it's signature required. The only time that changes currently is if it's dangerous goods, because it costs an absolute fortune. So your low expansion flexible foams, I declare everything. I'm not in the game to not declare something because I don't want something to go wrong and then be liable. It's not worth it. So that's the only time that it changes. But for $15, I think it's a no-brainer, really.
It's a zero-brainer.
Yeah.
So what sort of stuff do you supply?
Yeah, so anything from, like I said, general construction hardware. So whether it's joist hangers, hoop iron, all that sort of general hardware, right through to collated flooring screws for screwing down yellow tongue. Stud tie screws are a big one at the moment, and then some new products that have been released. So there's some new framing batten screws that are out that have been really popular already. And I actually got to demo them with your guys on site.
Jake keeps asking me, "Can I show you?" And I'm like, "Don't show me, mate."
Straight to Rory.
I'm not going to screw my laptop down, am I?
Rory just goes.
What's a batten screw?
You know what?
You're meant to be the bad carpenter out of the four of us.
You know what? You should have seen the gates that I made on the weekend. They are primo looking thing.
Gone over to Simpson strong tie.
Simpson. Yeah.
I love all the Simpson stuff. I'm a massive fan.
I meant Simpson.
It's unreal. Yeah.
Their range is insane too. Like they don't just do like your typical screws. Like obviously Spax have a good range as well, but Simpson cover off things from concrete anchoring right through to stud tie screws is a massive one. But they're innovating the market. They've been around for many, many years. All of their a lot of their brackets and components are actually thicker than standard, and they're a similar price point to a standard hanger that you'll get. So,
and they're very open to. I've actually had like one of their development guys from San Francisco out to a job site here when he was in Australia, and they're really open to talking to people in the industry and also giving you all that technical support, so that if you're like going to an engineer saying, "Hey, can we do this, this, and this?" the data's there.
I've also looped in some of this, like the strong tie engineer with Oranic. So I was dealing with the guys for some portal frame kits and bits and pieces. So I was able to supply the kits. They could nut out details. So there was a couple of jobs that had some tricky details, so they had to change bits and pieces. But the Simpson guys are more than happy to jump in and help you out.
Yeah, so I think there's two things there. One, if with these strong ties, or actually three things, if you're still using like hoop iron to wrap under a frame, I feel like you just use the strong ties. Two, if you're an engineer, you should just have this in your general notes, because you have 5 pages of general notes. One little line extra won't hurt. But three, I think it's important if you are a builder or carpenter, it's not on the general notes. I have had problems in the past where building surveyors or an inspector's like, no, we can't pass them. It's not on the notes. So do have that conversation early. It goes back to what we bang on about all the time.
The other thing
Collaboration. Talk about it.
Simpson have all the documentation, and if there's a problem with engineers, the project engineers, the strong tie engineer will help get that across the line as much as they can. Obviously, they're bound by certain things, but they're all documented. All the data's there, and if anyone's got questions, yell out. I'm more than happy to help. Outside of that, right through to if it's chemical anchoring, concrete anchoring, SDWS is obviously the strong tie screws, but Icon's still a massive range, whether it's from general construction, so your standard batten screws, right through to like the big commercialised stuff, even if it's into the tunnel and bits and pieces. So Maxim I've just recently brought on, so all your window packers and bits and pieces.
You've got angle window packers now too, yeah?
They're in the works. So anyone running a seal on grade, I've got something on the works.
Do you run seal on grade?
No.
I'm not convinced. You know what? Like, it's great for Instagram, but I don't know. This is my take.
And I'm impartial to this.
This is we actually have all three.
This is my take on it, right? So I know we're digressing a little bit. If I'm putting a back dam on and I'm covering it with extra seal, Pro Climber, I'm doing all of those good things, and then I'm completely weatherproofing the outside of my window.
Yeah.
What is not fucking getting in there?
Do you test your windows? So I only test. So we did this. We flooded a window.
We do it occasionally, right? But I've done it. I don't need to get a fucking hose and then put it on Instagram and show everyone that these windows are.
Dave does.
Yeah, but half the time they put a hose, they put on like this gentle mist. I'm like, fucking just soak the.
And I just as well, right? Like if you're flood testing your windows, keep doing it because I think it's an amazing thing to do. Yeah. Like my opinion is, I don't feel like I need to.
Like where do we stop to? Yeah, it was also my own house.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I do agree with you.
It makes great content.
And you use Duracell panels. I'm going to look at using them too.
Because then I'm not taping anything. I'm not falling a sill.
Let's
I'm
talk
just
about that offline.
Screwing something.
I've got a few things on that, not to shit on anyone, but let's have a chat offline about that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
you heard it here first, folks.
This is going to be good.
Keep a lookout for Notorious Tools.
So yeah, I don't know. Window on grade. I've got some builders that are doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just a solution.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's good practice.
Yeah.
It works, but I think if you're doing all the other things,
absolutely.
I feel even if water gets in there and it sits there, like
the extra seal is vapor closed.
It's the water's
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So where you're at now, are you happy with sort of how do you feel being off the tools? How are you from a we go back to identifying as a carpenter? How do you feel about that now?
On mornings like this morning when it's 2, 3, 4 degrees, whatever it was, I like being in a nice warm car or office. But don't get me wrong, when it's those nice warm sunny days and it's summer and it's 3:30 in the Arvo and all the guys inside are knocking back a beer or something, that's when it really hits home, and it's still a bit of a struggle. But where I'm at now, I'm learning to be content with my journey and where I'm at. But I think without having been a carpenter first, I wouldn't be where I am now. So having the industry knowledge always came first.
And I think you're in a space now that you're helping the industry too. You're doing good stuff and you're helping progress the industry, even if you're not. In fact, I'd argue that you're probably having more of an impact.
Yeah, and I think carpentry is I think the issue for so long carpentry is if you do carpentry apprenticeship, you're a carpenter. There are so many avenues you can go to now from carpentry, which is a great starting point.
Yeah. That is one thing I did make a mental note, and I know, we're going to wrap this up shortly, but I understand from the apprentice point of view, there's always the harsh reality of what the wage is, right? But I think we're getting too bogged down on what it is now versus what it could be down the line. And I know, look, it is what it is in terms of whatever the rates are. I don't know what the going rates are, but where it sets you up and where you can get to with the different pathways, whether it's a builder, whether it's a site manager, whether you want to go into sales or whatever the case may be, having that apprenticeship under your belt really opens so many doors.
Yeah, you could sell courses online.
I want to like so just the wage thing just for a second. So what, you're on $50,000 or $60,000 a year, right, to learn? Yep. Like if you're going to university and get university education,
paying 40.
Not only are you running up a HECS debt, if that's still a thing, but you're working it for $25, mixing, being a barista or running food. And you're working 15 hours a week, like you're getting, and then you've got to go and do the university degree on top of that. You've got to focus on what is actually happening here. You're getting paid to learn.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a lower rate, it's a lower wage in comparison to what the chippies are earning, but you're learning.
Yeah.
And those chippies had to go through the same thing as well.
100%. And way worse conditions.
Yeah.
Like-
Hammers whizzing past your head and getting yelled at.
But the pay thing's interesting because the statistic is that 50 to 60% of people that get out of their apprenticeship, or 50% of people fail or leave an apprenticeship. And the main reason is 70% is wage.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand the cost of living is...
But how much of that is related to them being constantly surrounded by noise that's like, you don't get paid enough, you'll get taken advantage of.
And that's those fucking stupid Instagram reels about, come do my course, the pyramid schemes. Like,
don't get me wrong, the cost of living isn't going down. Yeah. So I understand why there is some negative feedback and bits and pieces around that. But I also think general human nature, we just spend too much.
Yeah.
Like realistically, putting it very, very bluntly.
That is a thing, right? But I guess the point I'm trying to make and the parallel I want to join is, all right, so when you're early 20s, late teens, early 20s, you're either, two of your options are you go to university or you get into a trade, right? At that point, you've made the choice to get educated.
Yeah.
So you're getting educated and getting paid, or you're educated and you're earning less.
And paying.
And you're paying.
Yeah.
I think the big difference there is your language, that you've talked of an apprenticeship as being educated.
Yeah.
Whereas most people's perception would be
it's a job.
It's not necessarily
an
a
education.
career. I think a lot of apprentices don't see it as a career as such. It might just be they fell into a trade or...
And while we're on the topic of pay as well, you've done if people have done their 4 years, you're a baby carpenter then.
Yeah.
You're not like
100%.
you are on the beginning of your journey as a carpenter.
You don't work out of a uni degree and go, well, I'm on the fucking top dollar.
No, there is a progression, and I think there's if you can prove yourself at after 4 years, and you can prove that you're worth that money, good on you.
And if you've spent the time investing, learning, and one of my boys says it to our team all the time, learning doesn't stop. Once you finish work, if you want to get better, you go home and you learn
every
more.
single person sitting here right now is constantly learning.
Yeah.
Like we're always talking about new ways of doing it.
Once you're qualified, like what is that? What is that piece of paper that you get after your 4 years? Essentially, yes, okay, you've now got a qualification, you've done your TAFE, which that's questionable anyway.
Yeah.
There's what you learn after your apprenticeship.
Can't wait to talk to Polytech this afternoon.
Actually, no, this is actually going to be a very good conversation.
Yeah.
So we're going to speak to them later today, and this will be another episode. They're trying to now change the way the carpentry apprenticeship is.
I think we should get Brad in on that.
No, he's coming in. So it goes on from our previous conversation about apprentices. They actually want to get people like us help teaching, and how do we get people like us into the system? Yeah. So they're looking to change.
And SBA at the moment, just to sort of throw that in, are talking to a few TAFEs and also some of the larger industry-based organisations. So people are starting to realise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And actually go, hang on a minute, we actually do need to do it a little bit better.
Something needs to be done. There's like the construction industry is changing every day.
Yeah.
Like, and there's thousands of products. We hear at ArchiBuild, how many products and exhibitors are around? Like, none of us, even though we're in the high performance or passive house space or general construction, whatever it is, none of us know the thousands of products that are out there, and we're never going to know and fully understand what's going on.
And the industry is innovating every second.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I think people need to keep their finger on the pulse about that too.
Yeah. And like I see it a lot from my side of things, but again, that's hardware. Like, what about all the cladding profiles with different membranes or wraps or techniques? Like, it's so much going on all the time.
Yeah, we're going to wrap this one up because we've got to keep things moving. But Jake, thank you very much. From my side, I think you're a bit of an inspiration to give people in this industry options of what's post-carpentry if it doesn't work for them for various reasons. But thank you for coming on. If you want to get onto Notorious Tools, Instagram and your website?
Yeah, so Instagram is just at Notorious Tools, same with Facebook. And then the website's just notorioustools.com.au.
Perfect.
But there's a lot happening behind the scenes with the website. Trade accounts will be a thing, so you can log on and you'll get your direct pricing as your business.
And there's amusing bloopers on the Instagram page as well.
Yeah.
Quite funny.
Thank you very much,
There'll
Jake.
be more of that.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers.